Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the recap of episode 2 of Mandalorian season 3. Before we get started here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the video so we can keep growing out towards 250 subscribers. I know I didn't talk about the first episode, but some brief thoughts. I thought it was a really good setup episode, setting the stage for the rest of the season, reintroducing us to these characters that we love after the events of Book of Boba Fett. But episode 2 here is where we really start getting into the meat of things. Of course, if you watched episode 1, you know Mando's trying to get a droid to go test like the atmosphere of Mandalore so he can go bathe in the ancient waters. And this episode picks up with us going back to Tatooine to Amy Sedaris' character, and she ends up selling us this hunk-a-drunk droid that doesn't really work super well, but Mando takes it anyway, and they go to Mandalore, him, this droid, and Grogu, and chaos kind of ensues from there. You know, Mando ends up getting attacked from these cave creatures that for some reason kind of reminded me of those old bird creatures from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. Not sure why. Grogu is like more vocal than ever in this episode. I really feel like by the end of this season we're going to hear some actual words come from Grogu, and I'm curious to see if he talks backwards like Yoda or if he talks normal, what his voice sounds like. Wouldn't it be funny if like he was voiced by like Morgan Freeman or something? Like his voice doesn't match up at all. But this episode definitely has more action. We see more Bo-Katan for sure, because once Mando gets like stuck by this giant spider creature thing, Grogu's got to like hightail it out of there, jump in the ship, pilot hit himself with the droid, of course, fly back to Bo-Katan for backup, and then him and Bo-Katan come in and, pretty much save Din's life. And then the episode's called, I think it's called The Mines of Mandalore. Then we really get into the Mines of Mandalore, because then we go to the ancient water where Din is, doing his whole thing, trying to repent for his Mandalorian sins, and he gets taken down. So Bo-Katan once again jumps down into the water, saves him, and we see a brief glimpse of an awesome looking creature. If you've seen things like the Clone Wars, you know what that is. But I love this episode. I liked episode 1. Like I said, it was a good setting of the stage, but this episode really started getting into the beef of things. Of course, when Bo-Katan saves Din from the giant spider mech, she grabs the Darksaber and starts using it. And like, if you know Mandalorian culture, if you've obviously seen Mandalorian season 2, if you know what this season seems to be setting up, as soon as she grabs it, you're like, oh boy, this is like foreshadowing at its finest. Because even when Grogu flies back to Bo-Katan's place, she's like, all right, let me go out there and finish him once and for all. So Bo-Katan is like not like Din Djarin. Like, those two are setting up for one hell of a battle. I don't know how fast it's going to happen. It might not happen till the last 2 episodes of the season, but I think it's definitely going down, and I can't wait to see where this season goes, because like, we still got a lot of stuff to explore. Like, we got all sorts of Mandalorian stuff to explore. I feel like Sabine Wren from Rebels is going to show up at some point this season. We know Moff Gideon's going to come back into things somehow. How? I'm not so sure, because I kind of hope we stay on Mandalore for at least 1 or 2 more episodes before we go off on another adventure. And it seems like we are. This episode kind of ends almost like a cliffhanger. Like, they come out of the water after seeing the giant creature in the water, and that's where it ends. Like, they're both breathing heavy, Grogu's checking on them, and that's how the episode ends. So this is very, very much an ongoing story here, and I like that Katie Sackhoff is kind of like the second lead now behind Din Djarin, because I love her. I thought she was great in Clone Wars, obviously, and I thought she's pulled it off magnificently as the live-action version of Bo-Katan. But yeah, this episode definitely felt more like getting into the beef of things. We got the action. We got some character development with Grogu. We got some character development with the rivalry. Well, it's really a one-sided rivalry so far, it feels like, with Bo-Katan not liking Din, and she got her hands on that Darksaber again, so I think that's really gonna, set it up, fuel the fire that she wants it, and she's willing to fight for it, especially now that she knows that things survived on Mandalore, what else survived, and that the air is breathable. I think she's going to want to rebuild Mandalore in her own way, with her in charge, and I can't wait to see where this goes. Let me know what you thought of this episode of Mandalorian down in the comments below. What did you think of episode 1 as well, since we didn't really get to talk about that here on the channel? Make sure you comment down below, make sure you like this video, and subscribe to the channel so we can keep growing out towards 200 subscribers. From here on out, we're going to be talking about each episode of Mando, possibly more in depth. I'm a little struck for time today, so I didn't get to really break down the episode, but maybe next week we'll go a little more in depth. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys right here next time.